Hey, welcome to episode 718 of today's Antidote. Today, we're going to talk about the best laid plans by me for something this morning and by Tom to just get up and be here this morning. All that and more on today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, it's going to be one of those days, Tom. I can feel it.
I think my computer is as slow to waking up as I was this morning.
Happy Black Friday to you.
Happy Black Friday to you as well. Did you have a nice day yesterday?
It was quiet, but yeah, it was all right.
Okay.
Watched a lot of football. How about you? You had your whole family and an addition to the family. How'd that go?
It was great. It was great.
She didn't go running and screaming like you guys are all crazy?
Well, we are all crazy. No, but it was good. It was, it's interesting. We ate later than usual.
Okay.
And that was my fault because I wanted to watch the Bills, who won, by the way, in great fashion.
Sack of a catch that guy made.
Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy. Great throw.
Yes.
It was.
Who was it who made the catch? I don't remember his name.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, Diggs, a Maryland grad, right?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
I was getting him confused with the Vikings guy, Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Who he was on fire last night.
He was good as well.
Yeah.
So it was a nice day. It was. I got up and worked out. Got that in. Put me just a little behind in my food prep. So that was a little. It's kind of running around. And it was, so it was different because we ate later. Usually we're midday. And so then you kind of have the whatever, and then eventually everybody's ready for either seconds or they're ready for dessert. And I think everybody was ready to hit the couch.
Well,
it was great. It was a good day.
Nice.
Yes.
So, hey, we're talking this week about plans and your plan. And we had some plans this morning that we set up. But first, you have to do the important stuff, Tom. But can I take a stab at it?
Sure. Go at it.
Welcome to today's Antidote, everyone. I know Tom's a little still waking up because he got a late start this morning. And some of us have been up since 5:30 out there trying to do the hard work and getting nothing. But we'll talk about that more in a minute. Welcome, everybody, to today's Antidote. That's Tom. I'm Bob. Normally he does this part, but I'm going to fake my way through it. This is today's Antidote, where we try to help you figure out how to take a step on your own unique pathway towards success. It could be a big step. It could be a small step, whatever step you choose today. And it might be a step that's to take the day and goof off because you don't have to work, or to go shopping, or to put up decorations, or to just sit and watch college football game or Hallmark movies, whatever it is. That could be your step for today. And if you're listening or watching this and you want to comment, hey, we would love you to comment. You can do it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or Tom, what is it?
LinkedIn Live.
No. Come on, give it all. Give it its all.
I would be a shadow of your introduction or commenting on LinkedIn Live. And so I don't want to take that away from you. That's your signature, one of your signature things. So I'll leave that to you.
So you could also comment on LinkedIn Live, baby. It's hard to do when I'm doing the intro to it. And so, Tom, we start each program, and today probably more than any, we start with a celebration. what are you celebrating today? And I should say real quickly, the reason we start with the celebration is to get us in the frame of mind that we've taken steps, because so many of the celebrations we celebrate, whoa. So many of those things we celebrate are because we took a step. It's not the results that we're celebrating always. It's often just that we took that step. So you made that call, you went to that meeting, you got up early this morning and got that gift for someone, or you tried to get a gift for someone. Just taking that step that takes you out of your comfort zone, because so much of what we're trying to do, whether we're trying to establish more freedom, whether we're trying to establish more revenue, whether we're trying to establish more teamwork, or to just have more free time, whatever that looks like to us, we have to take steps to get there. We're not going to find it. It's not magic, Tom. I know. Big shocker on this Friday morning. It's not magic. Magic is not going to get you to achieve your goals. You're going to have to put in some work. You're going to have to take some steps. So, Tom, this morning, what do you celebrate?
It was fascinating to watch. Just saying. I am celebrating. It's a good question. What am I celebrating today?
We do this every morning, Tom.
Usually I get to go
chatting for the last 4 minutes.
I know. Usually I get to go second. No, I am going to celebrate. I'm going to celebrate the Bills win. They had they've had an interesting 7 or 8 days with a snowstorm that they had to get out of. A game got moved from Buffalo. They were supposed to have a home game at Buffalo to Detroit. So they flew out to Detroit, came back, still had to deal with the snow. Then only, really got 1 day of practice. They had to fly back out to Detroit to play the game yesterday. And they were able somehow, and I could tell just watching, they were done, tired, beat up.
They were done.
They
count the minutes till the game's over.
Yeah, no doubt. They and they were able to get 2 wins. So as someone said, and this is I don't like this, and it's a fact, that they had more wins in Ford Field in November than the Detroit Lions have this year.
Actually, I thought they were saying that at one point the Lions had they won 2 games in 4 days. Because of the way the schedule worked a couple years ago, like
at Ford Field.
Oh, at Ford
at
Field.
Their home field, they've only
right.
won 1 game this year. Now the Bills have won 2 in Ford.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That was my celebration, and it was a fun to be able to sit and watch it and enjoy that, and not get overly stressed about the food or any of those things.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you?
I'm celebrating the fact that yesterday I've had some change in my life in the last year. And yesterday I had 4 or 5 people check in on me by text and just really say nice things and just, want to make sure that I was having a fun day. And that was really special and really unexpected. And it's nice that people think about you when you're going through change in life. It makes it a little easier to go through those changes. So
nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Good. It's good to hear.
Yes. So, Tom, I'm going to start. So I had plans for this morning, and I learned a couple of things this morning. So we talked, I think, yesterday or the day before about I like to go out and do some man on the street kind of interviewing. It reminds me of my old journalism past, and I like a good excuse. And I'm hoping that the Today Show will find me one of these days and go, this guy can really do these witty interviews. We don't need Al Roker anymore. We need him. But alas, this morning that didn't go as planned because, one, I got up and it was going to rain within the first 5 minutes of me being out there, even though the forecast I looked at last night said no rain till 7 o'clock. Second, I got out there and it was darker than I expected. And my plan to be under lighting in various places, I had actually scoped it out last night. Didn't work as well because I was doing it at dusk. And this morning it was dark. I guess it is true. It's darker before dawn, or it's darkest before the dawn. So says some saying somewhere that I can't remember who said it. So that didn't work out real well. And then I went to 3 different locations, and at one, a security person encouraged me to be doing other things with my time. at another, a police officer who I think is the son of a police officer I actually interviewed years ago when I worked at a newspaper, encouraged me to be somewhere else. And at a third location, a woman suggested that if I did not find something else to do with my time, she would tell the people inside the store, which would probably invite the same police officer over to see me a second time. And as much as I like this program, I don't really think it's worth spending a night or a weekend in the local jail, because I don't know if you know this, but if you go to the jail and you get charged with certain things, you get to spend the weekend there. They won't have a hearing to get you out on bail until the following Monday.
Especially on Black Friday.
It would have been Black Friday, Black Saturday, Black Sunday, probably a Black Eye Monday too, if we're being honest. I'm not built for prison, I'm just saying. So my plan was to do a couple of interviews and talk to people about whether they plan their Black Friday. And I did talk to a couple of people about it. And all of them said the same thing. I planned the first one or two places I was going to go because I looked at the circulars or I saw that they had this thing online. And I said, oh, what happens after that? And one guy was like, probably going to go get breakfast. I mean, it's early as, well, he used a obscenity at that point. It's early as you fill in the blank for however you feel about mornings. And I said, oh, where are you going to go breakfast? It's like, I don't know. I don't know what's open because I'm not usually looking for breakfast at this hour. Another person said that they had to get their shopping done and everything hidden in their house before the family woke up. Otherwise, they'd see that she bought the stuff. So her plan was not so much what she was buying, it was what she was going to do with what she bought. And my suggestion was leave it in the trunk of your car. And she said, oh, I never thought about that. So a new perspective brought to her.
Look at the value you added this morning.
Look at the value. She still wouldn't go on camera. So funny. I'm like, seems like a good, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm a business coach. She's like, I see that. So, if only she owned a business.
If only.
And then another couple, a man and a woman, actually had a strategy going into this boutique where they were going to each purchase different things for different people. They had a list of what they were going to buy. They had sizes. They had a very strategic approach. I said, oh, that's really great. And they didn't want to, like, we talked while they were walking because they were in the zone. And I said to them, what do you do to celebrate success afterwards if you get all these items? And haven't thought that far. And I think that the takeaway for me is no one really thought about what was going to happen after they did the things they planned. And I, too, was of the same thing. You know, my plan got foiled. And I'm like, oh, I might have time to go get breakfast. Where could I go get breakfast at 6:30 in the morning and be done by 7? Turns out there was a Chick-fil-A. I didn't know Chick-fil-A opened at 6 o'clock. I did not go there, though, because there was a long line of all the other people who apparently realized that Chick-fil-A is open at 6 a.m. And nothing says Black Friday breakfast like Chick-fil-A. So, and of course, they were probably stressing because it was closed yesterday. And you know how people are when the local Chick-fil-A is closed for a day.
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday. And apparently every Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So my takeaways from all this is that sometimes we plan, but we don't plan all the way out, nor do we plan for when things go wrong. So in the middle of the third time I was being run off, it started to really pour. Like too much rain to be outside doing what I wanted to do, and you can't be inside buildings without permission. So at that point, my entire plan was foiled, only to come home. And the second part of the plan was I was going to do the interviews, and Tom was going to produce them. There's some editing that needed to occur. And as it turned out, that would have been really difficult for Mr. Brush because, well, he says his alarm did not go off. It was his wife's alarm. I'm not sure I believe that. I think he probably was celebrating the Bills' victory last night a little too late and just didn't get up, you know. So now tell us about your plan and what happened there, Tom.
Mine's pretty short. Mine was 99% positive I set my alarm at 6 a.m.
For 6 a.m., not
for
at
6 a.m. For 6 a.m. And it didn't go off. Okay. And I was kind of rolling around in bed too. I wasn't like I was sound asleep. And then an alarm went off and I thought, oh, that must be my alarm. It must be 6 o'clock. And I picked up my phone and it wasn't my alarm. And it wasn't 6 o'clock. So it was then mad dash time. It was 7, which is when we were supposed to start. And had I been supposed to have been editing, that would have been a challenge as well. So it was, sometimes things happen like that, things that you can't always control, or you at least thought you had controlled, and then you didn't, and I think that's part of planning, or, part of your plan, I think, is some flexibility for what happens when things don't go the way you thought they were going to go. And that's often. I was talking with a client 2 weeks ago now about that, as they were trying to figure out their plan. And I said, well, do you ever allow time for when things don't go the way you think they're going to? Well, no. Why? I said, well, how many times do you walk in and you get an email that says somebody needs something that you weren't expecting? You have a situation where one of your team member needs you and it takes half an hour or 40 minutes. Or someone else who was supposed to do something didn't. They slept in and you were stuck having to do it. And, and I think that it's just one of those things to consider in your plan, is that it's, whether it's your plan for the day, the week, for the rest of the year, or for next year, I think there's an opportunity to throw in some time that this will allow for the unexpected to happen. And then, because if we don't allow for that, and inevitably something is going to happen that we didn't expect, now is when we fall into that stress, overwhelm, frustration, where we're not allowed to stay focused enough to figure out how to take that next step. And I think that becomes one of the biggest challenges that we face, with any sort of plan that you have. Again, I sort of thought that yesterday that the turkey would be done sort of right after the game. Well, we didn't eat dinner, because then there was the stuffing that had to be cooked, because the stuffing didn't fit in the oven with the turkey.
Of course not.
Of course not, and
unless you put the stuffing in the turkey, which we discussed.
Unless you do that, correct. And I think that wasn't part of my plan. I hadn't said, well, the turkey is this high and my oven is this big and the pans, because I had thought that I had remembered that I had done that before, that the turkey fit in and that the stuffing would fit in below it. And it just didn't work as planned. So we didn't eat till later, which, as it turned out, was fine, because we hadn't overly planned. It wasn't like, oh, okay, we're going to eat at 4:30 and then at 6, we're going to go do something else. And we'll meet, said we were going to meet someone somewhere. So we kind of allowed for that opportunity to happen, that we didn't over plan the day. And so I think that allowed for it to not be as stressful as it could have been had, we had really overly planned out what we wanted to accomplish in the day.
Well, and it was the same for me this morning. Kind of was doing this to see if it would work. And if it worked, it worked. If it didn't work, kind of like, okay, we'll go back to doing what we normally do. It won't be the end of the world. And I think that's a real good lesson here. That might be my discovery of the week, if I can jump into it, is
sure.
1, not to overplan, and 2, to really give yourself wiggle room in case what you think is going to happen doesn't happen. And because so many of the things we do involve other people, it's awfully hard to align people, because we all have our own interests, we all have our own concerns, we all have our own limitations, and sometimes they just get in the way of each other. They just bump up against each other. It's not that you did a bad plan or that they did a bad plan or they don't care. It's just things get in the way. And I think that's a real lesson, especially if you're leading teams or if you're running a business. I've talked to a couple of owners who talk about everyone I hire gets, I have to fire everyone I hire. And if you talk to some of the people, they'll say, yeah, I got fired because, I was 3 minutes late on my 3rd day. And go back, talk to the owner, and the owner's like, well, they can't be late. I just can't have them be late. And it's like, okay, did you explain to them the situation? Did you try to encourage them? Did you try to help them? No, they were late, so I fired them.
Or did you try to understand why they were late?
Right. And there are reasons to be late sometimes.
Well, that's the thing, is that I think so often when you run into those situations, it's as much as about what is the information that you as the leader provided,
right,
as it is about the person not doing what was expected of them.
Or what you expected without you explaining why.
Correct.
I used to work years ago. I worked at the Towson Center at Towson University when I was in college, and it opened at 6 a.m. And so on the weekends, I worked the morning shift a lot. You had to be there quarter of, so you could open at 6 a.m. If you didn't open at 6 a.m., there were upset people who were deans and very important people. I only had to be explained. That was explained to me one time before I started. I was never late. Because it's like, this is really important. This is how you get to have your job. And I think sometimes we assume more and more, that people understand what's going on behind the scenes, what actually is why this matters, why this is so important to us. And I've seen owners who say the same thing. It's like, my employees don't care as much as I care. And I think in some cases that's true. I think in other cases, it's the owner not empowering the employees to care that much because they're the owner and they don't share the information.
Or you don't understand the consequences.
Right.
You don't think about what could go wrong. What could not go as planned. For that person who wanted to get into the building at 6 and if they were like, well, you know what, whether it was practice or a meeting that they had to be on, I think that if you were on a weekend at 6 o'clock on a college campus and you were counting on a college student to open it up, I might not schedule anything till 6:30 or 7. Because I just think, why
do you think I kept my job for so long?
I think there are the opportunities that something's going to happen that you can't explain. And yeah, you can be angry at the person, and if it was a constant issue, that's different. Although I would think about, all right, if I know that I'm relying on somebody else to open a building, I might not plan something really important for the moment the building opens.
Right.
Because again, things can happen. And I think, it's interesting. I wasn't thinking that this conversation would go down this route, which wasn't expected, and it did. And I think when I think about my discovery of the week around your plan, I think that it's valuable to have a plan, and it's also valuable to understand that things aren't going to happen the way you expect, and to make sure that you're giving some thought to what does that mean and how might that impact your plans. I think more likely than not, you're going to have issues because that's going to happen. And I think that if I was going to encourage people to add one thing to their plan is what happens when what I expect to happen doesn't happen. And how can I be better prepared for that so that I am less stressed, frustrated, stuck, all of those things that slow us down from being able to move forward along our own unique pathway to success.
And we're going to talk through that at a workshop on December 8th, right, Tom, in Baltimore.
We are.
We're going to talk through not just what your next big goal is and how you can achieve it, but what are some of the red flags? What are the things that could get in the way? Tom did this process with me about 3 months ago. Believe it or not, the most illuminating part of it was what could get in the way. And that led to some really big shifts in how I go about my day, and also some changes in my business in terms of accountability and trying to figure it out, because we literally, like Tom, I remember Tom saying, what could get in the way? It's like, well, this could get in the way, this could get in the way, this could get in the way. Oh, okay. Not how dare you, this is a perfect plan, but okay, let's build a plan around those 3 things that could get in the way of your plan. So
or as you're going,
not understanding what we're talking about in terms of building alternative routes, our workshop in Baltimore on December 8th will be a really great opportunity. Plus, you're going to be able to really zero in on a goal that you've been putting off or wishing for your whole life. And at the end of the day, we're going to have a nice little happy hour, first 2 drinks on Tom and me, where you can actually talk to the other people you've spent the day with, share what your vision is, and hopefully build some networking around that. So really great opportunity. We've got limited seats left. If you want to learn more, you can PM Tom or me, or I put some information in the chat here, and it'll be on the podcast as well in the notes, so you can look at this. It's December 8th in Baltimore. I know if you're not in Baltimore, you could come to Baltimore, or if you're not in Baltimore and you really want this, hey, let us know. We're thinking about something there.
Yes. And I would also say, if you're struggling with something, I think sometimes we think about what's the goal we want to set. And it's also, what is the challenge I'm trying to overcome? And really, trying to overcome a challenge or putting a plan together to overcome a challenge is really like setting a goal or trying to achieve a dream that it's just a different type of dream. And I think the other thing is we have a Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday deal going on that we're going back to our early bird pricing that we offered as we launched this effort. And we have a special 2-for-1 price. So bring a friend, come and work on that next goal together, whether that's someone you work with, whether it's someone that's on your team, whether it's a peer or just a friend that you thought would be good to spend the day with, trying to figure out how to take your next steps. So we look forward to seeing you there. We'd also, if you have a discovery of the week you'd like to share, there is a post up. You can share it either in LinkedIn on the Renegade Success Network for Leaders group, or in our Ring of Renegades on Facebook. There's a great opportunity for you to share. There's a marker that'll be up. You can put your discoveries of the week there. It could be about your plan. I don't know what just happened to Bob. He obviously did something that he decided it was time for him to go. It can be about your plan, or it can be something else that you discovered this week that you wanted to share, because we know that it'll add value to someone else. And you might see something in someone else's discovery that allows you. Welcome back.
Thanks. Internet flickered out.
Something that allows you to have what's real for you be impacted, and might be something that of real value that you had never considered before. So we look forward to seeing you inside of those groups. If not, we will see you Monday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time, when we'll start talking about your gifts.
Gifts. Ooh, we're getting into that holiday season.
And a chance to identify what you have and how you might leverage that. So we look forward to seeing you then. If not, have a great Black Friday. Find all the good sales and think about our workshop. That's a good sale. It's a good opportunity for you to do something for yourself, or you could gift it to someone else. If you know somebody who's really struggling with something and they just aren't yet ready to invest in themselves, maybe it's an opportunity for you to invest in that. Whether that's your spouse that you see struggling with a challenge, or maybe a child, or somebody on your team that you think, they could really use some help in trying to figure out their plan, because they always talk about this dream that they have, and yet they never really seem to take the next step. So have a great weekend, folks. Go out and make it a great day today. We'll see you soon.
Hey, and while you're doing all your shopping, or you're eating of turkey leftovers, or watching the big college football games, or binge watching something on Netflix or Hulu, embrace the renegading you.
Or sleeping from all the food you ate yesterday.
That's right. We're watching the Hallmark movies, the Christmas movies. I've been watching several of those.
Excellent. All right, everybody, go out and make it a great day. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.